Now let's talk about a problem which even AI cannot solve. America's immigration mess. Yesterday, the US Supreme Court passed an order, and this order threatens to disrupt America's legal framework and its immigration policies. At the center of this controversy is Texas. It's a border state in the US, and it is engaged in a bitter standoff with President Joe Biden. You see, every year, Texas witnesses an influx of undocumented migrants. They've been seeing this problem for years, and they've seen no solution, really. So Texas decided to take matters into its own hands. The state passed its own immigration law. Through this law, Texas gave itself sweeping powers. It could detain immigrants and prosecute them. Texas can even order these migrants to return to their home countries. Now, the Biden administration was quick to challenge this law. It moved the lower courts, and it managed to obtain an injunction. So Texas could not implement this law. They then challenged the injunction. Texas challenged this injunction. It moved the US Supreme Court, and yesterday, America's top court sided with the state of Texas.
The United States Supreme Court, using all of its powers or minimizing its own powers, is allowing SB 4 to be enacted in Texas, thereby allowing other rogue states like Texas to pass patchwork immigration enforcement bills in their own states.
So the Supreme Court ruled that Texas could implement its immigration law. But the relief was temporary. Hours after the Supreme Court verdict, the lower courts intervened again. They decided to fast-track the proceedings. And a hearing has been scheduled for Wednesday. Lawyers from both the federal government and the state of Texas will appear, and they will present their arguments. So the implementation of this law is on hold again. And this case might end up in the US Supreme Court once again. Because yesterday's ruling is very clear. It did not say anything on the legality of the law. The Supreme Court judgment focused on just one thing. Can Texas implement this law while it is still being challenged in courts? So that's what the court ordered on. But our story does not focus on the legality of it. It focuses on the politics of immigration. It leaves Joe Biden exposed because immigration has been a weak link in the Biden presidency. Under his leadership, illegal crossings from Mexico shot up to almost 250,000 in December. It was an all-time high. During the Biden presidency, over 6 million illegal immigrants have been detained on American borders. Over 6 million. And this number exceeds previous administrations. It's more than the presidencies of Donald Trump, Barack Obama, even George W. Bush. So you could say that immigration as a problem has become worse under Joe Biden. And a lot of Americans seem to agree. Here are the findings of a recent poll. More than 2/3 of American citizens disapprove of Biden's immigration policies. So the tussle with Texas will only highlight this weakness further. America's top court has diminished the president's authority, it seems. Fundamentally, this case is about jurisdiction. Who has the power to decide which migrant can stay in the US and which migrant must leave? Who decides that? Usually it's the federal government, which sets the immigration policies. And it's the case in most countries. It's also the case in India. Here in India, states cannot make laws on immigration. Only the central government can make laws. The states are supposed to enforce those laws. And it's the same in the US. But Texas is now challenging this system. It is trying to forge its own path and challenge the authority of President Joe Biden. And America's neighbors are already complaining. Mexico, for instance, has issued a statement. It has refused to accept any migrants deported by Texas.
Today, we are also at a critical moment where the Supreme Court of the United States approved today. Yesterday, it had put an impasse, but today it approved the SB 4 law, which is an anti-immigrant, xenophobic, discriminatory law.
So America's immigration mess has now become a headache for its allies and neighbors. Joe Biden wants 4 more years to fix it. But his re-election bid is proving to be an uphill task. He's losing support from his core vote bank. And this includes the Latino and Hispanic vote. It's moving away from Biden, according to recent opinion polls. The row over immigration can only weaken President Biden's case.